I can't wait to show you my toys.
Hey, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're looking at the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Batman and Batcycle Vehicle Pack. Now, this is the third vehicle we received in this line. We've got the Batmobile, the Batwing, now the Batcycle. Maybe they'll give us a Batmobile in the future, maybe a Batmobile from the new Batman Adventures or Batman Beyond. The possibilities are endless. Really wish I didn't cancel that Joker car a couple years ago, but whatever. I personally am buying this vehicle with the hopes that it'll work with DC Universe Classics type figures, slightly larger than the Batman Animated Series figures. I do love this line, but my main passion is the DC Universe Classics type figures. So let's go and check out the packaging here. You can see Batman and the Batcycle. Here on the inside we've got Batman. He looks to be a lot more articulated than previous releases, and we'll sure check that out in this video. He's got his helmet on, two different alternate heads. Here is the Batcycle. Cannot wait to get this thing out of the plastic and check it out. I believe it lights up and everything. Batman the Animated Series, DC Collectibles. Here on the top, simply got Batman the Animated Series. One side, Animated Series logo. Other side, absolutely nothing. On the bottom, completely blank. On the back, it shows the previous wave that they've made, which has Grey Ghost, Hard Act Batman, Scarecrow, and Two-Face. We do have a barcode on the back here in case anybody needs it, and just a whole bunch of credits. So with no further ado, let's open this guy up. And of course, I did end up getting 4 of these. One of them is going to be completely unopened to complete my up-to-date Batman the Animated Series, DC Direct, and DC Collectibles collection. I got 3 of these to open, 3 Batcycles. I was really hoping to be able to give Batman, Nightwing, and Robin each one like they used in the cartoon. And just because I think it's mildly interesting, here's the package for Batman and the Batcycle next to the package for each of the DC Expressions pack. Identical measurements and layout, just mildly interesting. And then here are all my unopened Batman figures in front of my Batman related comics. This guy here is going to join his other large deluxe Batman the Animated Series figures. I saved one special spot for this guy. Looks like he's going to fit in there just perfect. Running out of space here. Alright, well now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with everything laid out. As you can see, we have an instruction booklet here. We've got the actual Batman figure. He comes with an alternate head, and he does have the Batcycle helmet on. We have a display base here, sort of looks like a piece of the Batcave, and on the other side has a piece of Gotham City Street. And then, of course, the highlight of the set, the Batcycle, and this thing does look good. It's large, like it should be. It looks like it's going to fit all the figures I want it to. But before we take a deep look at the accessories, let's check out the figure and the vehicle. So here's Batman. You can see he's got the helmet on, a lot thicker. I always liked that he had a helmet in the show that looked very similar to his mask. You just put it on, take it off. You can see he's got an ab crunch, definitely more articulation in his arms, a ball joint side of there, a huge range of motion, double joint knees, newer style crotch. Looks like he's going to be able to ride this nice. His cape is from a new material, and it has a wire in it. Really going to be able to get some cool poses of him on the cycle with the cape behind him. And let's check out the cycle. This is what it was for. Look at this thing. It has that simple style Batman the Animated Series. Just looks so good, so reminiscent of what I loved as a kid. Honestly, don't remember these fins on there. They look cool, and they sure make it stand up nicely. There's no kickstand or anything for this. Love the wheels. They're rubber. The front can rotate. Liking the lawn, of course, yes. It does light up. Looks like a home run from DC Collectibles. Although I didn't expect anything less because their other 2 vehicles were fantastic. And then here are all 3 sets laid out with all their contents. Now I'm really excited to have 3 of these Batcycles. I've already put some DC Universe Classics and a couple DC Direct figures on them, most of which work okay as long as their legs are articulated properly. But I must say the actual Batman figures One of them's great. I really have no use for the other guys. I'll probably throw them on eBay, try to recoup a little bit of the cost of the set. Speaking of the cost of the set, I got my set from dcbservice.com, discountcomicservice.com. They give you like 33% off the retail price, so my sets were $40 each instead of, I want to say, $60 or whatever the suggested price is. I have seen them for pretty cheap on Amazon too, so if you want to get them, now's the time. There's already some discounted prices. I've seen them between $36 and $45, Amazon Prime. Now let's check out this guy's accessories. And I must say, the main piece of this, the Batcycle, everything else is an accessory. Even the Batman figure is just an accessory to the Batcycle as far as I'm concerned. So first of all, this thing does come with batteries, thank God, because it takes one of those weird kind. As you can see in the instructions here, it says requires 3 LR44 batteries. Would have been so annoying if it didn't come with them. The other thing the instructions show you is just how you can sort of move the, I don't know, the burning effect from the Batcycle burning out of there. You can kind of rotate it ever so slightly. Now let's take a look at the display base. Now I really don't like stands or bases, but this one I do like. This one can be used for a lot of different things. So when I first pulled this out of the package, it looked just like this, and I'm kind of like, okay. And as I pulled it out, I'm like, what, did they put this on upside down? Because this is definitely a manhole cover. Why would you want that on the bottom? So what I've gathered myself is this here is supposed to be sort of in the Batcave, a little platform, the cycle coming off of. And then if you wanted to switch it out, which you could pull this out very easily, you can switch it to be part of Gotham City's street. Pretty cool little street scene here. Now, as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, that is awesome. Maybe I can connect all these together. We will check that out shortly. So this thing here at the top, you can plug it in very easily to a little metal rod here. Goes in a little peg holes here. Done a whole lot better than the Batgirl figure they made a while ago that came with the motorcycle. That thing broke almost immediately for me. Simply push it in, pull into the back, sitting like this. Batcycle is sitting there and it can rotate. Now I guess this is how it's supposed to look. It seems to fit the back wheel a little better than the front wheel. But honestly, you don't need this display base. I mean, yeah, it looks nice. But as far as making this thing stand, it stands on its own just fine. I mean, check this out. No problem. You don't have to, it has this fin back here that will keep it up no matter what you do. Very well designed. So if you have all these things on what I call the platform side, which is, I believe, supposed to be part of the Batcave, it doesn't really look very good. The main reason is it's not completely straight as it comes in. It kind of gets narrower, so if you put them together, it just really doesn't look right, which is quite unfortunate. Still a pretty cool piece for what it is. Now here are the three of them lined up with the street scene piece facing upward. Looks okay. A little bit annoying to have these burning pieces in them. Yes, you can remove them, absolutely no problem. But then it just has these big gaps in there, which frankly looks even worse. I'm sure I could patch those up. But it's still pretty cool to have another street diorama piece from Action Figure City. And then here they are the other way. There are lines that go through them that do look uniform, going through all three of them. The burning pieces are annoying. I think this would look better without them. Either way, I'm sure I can do something with these pieces. Thank you, DC Collectibles, for a useful display base. And then this base is very reminiscent of the DC Icons Burnside Batgirls base for her motorcycle, at least as far as the flame effects goes. Next, let's take a look at the actual figure. Let's save the best for last. And when I say best, I mean the Batcycle. So this guy here comes with two different heads. So as I went to remove the head, it's on a typical ball joint here. A little bit rough to pull it off. One thing I did notice, you can remove the cape. And if you want to swap it out with a previous cape, I bet that would work. We will check that out here after we look at these heads. And as you can see here are the two different heads. The one on the right is the default one that came on the figure, and he's kind of got his mouth open, growling, a little bit angry. And the one on the left is exactly the same, except that his mouth is shut. But beyond that, they both have the motorcycle helmets on. Here he is with his first head. This is the one that came on the figure in the package. A little bit angry, mouth a little bit open, almost like he's growling or snarling a little bit. And then here he is with his other head. This one is probably going to be my default head for this figure. A little bit more standard and normal looking for any purpose. And then I took one of the capes from the DC Collectibles Batman Expressions pack. So if you really don't like the cloth wired cape, which I don't know why you wouldn't, it looks great. Here's a rubber cape from a different Batman Animated Series figure. I went ahead and put it on. It slides over his neck, absolutely no problem. I put the motorcycle helmet back on, which led me to wonder, can I utilize some of the heads from the Batman Expressions pack on this guy and use this super articulated body with a regular Batman head? I'm sure they're going to release one in the future, but maybe I want one now. Here he is with a non-helmeted head from the Expressions pack, kind of a little more angry head, but you can swap them, so if you want that Batman now, you sure can get him. Might give me something to do with one of these other bodies. And then here's another head, and yet another head, giving you a ton of different display options if you've been getting all the different figures so far. Next, let's check out the height of this figure. As most of you know, this is a DC Direct and DC Collectibles figure, which usually run around 7 inches tall, but they made the Batman Animated Series a shorter scale. They run around 6 or so inches, maybe a little bit above that. This guy here, from top to bottom, sitting at about 6 1/4 inches. Next, let's look at this guy's articulation. So first of all, his head. Yes, it can go around, it can go down, and look up a pretty nice amount. They did give this feature specifically so we can ride on the car and be able to look forward. Very nice. Shoulders go out full 90 degrees. They're on a ball joint inside of there, and it feels like there's a peg in addition to that. So pretty cool there. Single jointed elbows, not quite in 90 degrees, and there is a swivel above that. His wrist, of course, can go around, and it's hinged as well, and quite a bit. Does have an ab crunch in the middle here. Really doesn't give you a lot of motion, though. Waist swivel below that. His legs, on the new style crotch of the animated figures, can go forward, almost 90 degrees. Back, not at all. Out, almost 90 degrees, not quite, that's for sure. There's a ball joint inside of here. Really nice range of motion there. Double joint knees go all the way back. He's got a shin cut at the boot, and then his feet go up and they go down as well. So I took an older Batman Animated Series Batman from a previous assortment just to check out the upgrades in the articulation. So of course, can't quite compare the heads because this one has a specific neck for this type of Batcycle helmet. Then the shoulders, the joint is considerably different. This one is super, super tight. You can barely go out at all. This one here, a lot of freedom, a lot of range of motion. The elbows are going to be very similar, single jointed. The wrist here, I mean, his can also go around and it's hinged, but his has a lot more motion. Ab crunch, completely new. Waist swivel, honestly does not feel like this guy even has one. The crotch area considerably different. I do like this a lot better. It gives you more range of motion and looks better. This one here looks fine like this, but you start moving it, breaking up the sculpt, it looks really bad. Knees double jointed, that's definitely an upgrade on these older ones. He had no cut or anything here. And the feet, they're similar, but I feel a lot sturdier with these guys. I've had some breakage issues with these guys' ankles. Next, let's check them out compared with some other action figures. Starting with the different variations of Batman from Batman Animated Series. Here is the original release. Notice he's a little bit shorter, mostly because the double jointed knees added a little bit of height as to the ab crunch to the figure. Here he is next to the new Batman Adventures Batman. This is the first Batman release from this entire line, and this guy is screaming for an update. And then here he is next to the Justice League Batman. Here he is next to the recently released Hardak Batman. This is Batman as a Hardak robot, but it's done with the newer articulation. As you can see from the waist down, it's exactly the same as this Batcycle Batman, as well as the arms. The chest is different, there's no ab crunch, but he also has the robotic bow damage details there. And then here he is next to all the different Batmans from Batman the Animated Series that you would have bought if you've gotten everything that they've released so far. We've got the single carded Batman, and then we've got the Batman that came with Batman and Robin that came with the Bat Signal with the cloth cape. There's also Batman that came with Batman and Robin that came with the Bat Signal and the Batmobile Deluxe set. Then in the center here, there's the Batman that came with this Batcycle. Then we've got the Batman that came with the Mask of the Phantasm versus Batman 2-pack. And then the guy with no cape there is from the Expressions pack. And then on the far right, we've got the Hard Act Batman. And you know they're definitely not done. They're going to release a standard Batman on this newer body for sure. Here he is next to his Batman the Animated Series allies. And then here he is with the sidekicks from the new Batman Adventures. Here he is next to the most recently released assortment from Batman the Animated Series. We've got Batman the Animated Series Scarecrow, New Batman Adventures Two-Face, Batman Animated Series Hard Act Batman, and Batman Animated Series Grey Ghost. This is a really nice wave. After having a really long break from the previous wave, and they have a new articulation formula, it's much better, and the figures are a little bit taller than before. Here he is next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse Batman figures. As you can see, he may be a little bit shorter, but really not by much at all. Here he is next to several other DC Direct and DC Collectibles Batman figures. These guys are definitely noticeably taller than him, but it's not a horrible difference. So now let's check out the Batcycle. Cannot stress to you how pleased I am with this thing so far. The way it looks, they've captured the aesthetic of Batman the Animated Series. It feels very sturdy, and it's sized up very nice. Once again, it has the fins that will keep it standing upright. Just nice, sleek design. The rubber wheels. I love these. I always sort of remember this Batman Animated Series. It can rotate a lot. It can light up with the button at the bottom. Just press it again to turn off. All these different controls. See the bat signal here. All these meters and dials. The detail is really nice for what you get. Next, let's check out the measurements of this thing. So from one side to the other side, it's sitting at right around 9 inches. And then from bottom to top, about 3.5 inches. And I think we've pretty much covered this to death already, but let's look at the action features. It, of course, has a back wheel that actually can move made out of rubber. It's got the front wheel, which can also move inside of here and can rotate quite a bit. Does have the light up feature. You can see the button here. This is where you switch out the batteries. Looks pretty nice. Overall, pretty solid vehicle. And then speaking of light effects, here's the Batcycle in the Batcave. Here it is lit up in full light. And then here are the light features in the dark. You can see you kind of got the headlight at the front here, as well as all the dashboard effects. And then here's Batman as he's driving this motorcycle through the city. Then here he is driving at nighttime as it's mostly dark with his light up features. And then of course here's the Batman figure that came with this set standing next to the cycle. And then here he is sitting on the actual cycle. Looking pretty good. Really have to sort of stretch his legs to the farthest possible point to be able to have him with his foot on the pedal. And his butt is not quite back there. I mean, you can kind of shove him back a little bit more. Really stretching his knees already as far as they can go. Honestly, he looks pretty good. Doesn't quite sit there the way I'd like, though. Maybe if I mess him a little more, I'll be able to get him in there further. And then as you can see here, he's got that wire cape, so you can really make it look cool, like he's driving really fast through the city and his cape's flying in the wind back there. I do like the options there, very appropriate for this guy. In addition to that, another thing this figure did very nicely is you can really look forward nicely. I like that. Most of the time you put a figure into a vehicle and they're just sort of looking down and it's kind of unbelievable. And then the next question, can the sidekicks fit on it? So I was hoping to have Nightwing, Robin, and Batman all fitting out together. Here's the new adventures, Nightwing and Robin. I would say no on the Robin. He's a little bit too small. His hands sure can't fit on there, and his feet don't reach the pedals. Don't think it works with him. But I would probably say yes with Nightwing. For the most part, I mean, his feet can reach down there. This hand here on the side can actually grip the handle pretty nicely. Overall, it fits. He's a little bit maybe small looking for it. I do like the fact that these bikes are bigger than I was hoping for, or at least as big as I was hoping for. And then with the Batman animated Robin and Batgirl here, kind of say no. She really doesn't fit on there very well. She's kind of sticking up. Robin here doesn't really fit on there quite right, but you know what? He's sort of passable if you're not too picky. And then here are a few Mattel DC Universe Classics figures next to these bikes. Staying next to them, they scale up very nicely. And then here are all three of those figures riding the Batcycles, and I must say, they all look pretty good for the most part. You can see here Robin probably looks the worst there. His butt's not on the seat, but you know what? Still sort of fudgeable. Nightwing here probably looks the best. His butt's pretty much all the way on the seat. His legs can pretty much get really close to the pedals. They can all hold the handles, no problem. You can see Batman here not looking too bad either. His head really doesn't go up too much, but it's really not that bad either. And then here are the bikes next to some DC Multiverse figures. These are also from Mattel. These are just a hair taller than DC Universe Classics figures. And then here are the Multiverse figures sitting on the bikes, and they don't look too bad either. Here's Red Robin sitting on there. Couldn't really get his feet onto the pedals, but he fits on there okay, and they can use their hands on the handles. Nightwing here, a little bit too high off there. I mean, you can push him on, push his legs down, they end up getting a little too far low. And then Batman here, once again, his butt's way off there, but if you are okay with his feet being further back, you can fit him on there pretty nicely. And then here are some of the largest DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures next to these cycles. These are 7-inch tall Arkham Knight, Batman, Nightwing, and Robin. I'm guessing they won't really fit on these very well, but let's find out. And then here are these larger Arkham Knight figures on the Batcycles. You can see Robin here. I mean, they fit okay. His legs are way past the pedals, but if you you can ignore that, it's not too bad. Pretty similar situation with Nightwing here. Don't think it looks bad at all, except for the feet. And then Batman here, who's definitely the tallest of them. Pretty similar as well. Next, let's check this vehicle out compared with some other 1/12 6-inch scale Batman vehicles. Starting with some Batman Animated Series vehicles. And then here's this Batcycle next to the Batman the Animated Series Batmobile from this collection. This Batmobile is something else. It's huge, it's sleek, you can hold almost any of your 6 and 7-inch figures in the front. 2-seater cockpit. This Batcycle is nice, but it ain't nothing compared to this Batmobile here. And then just another look at the Batcycle versus the Batmobile. And then here's the Batcycle next to the Deluxe Batmobile. This one here came in a pack with the Bat Signal, Batman, Robin, and this Batmobile. The only real difference is a little bit more chrome detailed. The silver looks a little bit different. And then here are both the Batmobiles next to a couple Batcycles. And then here is the amazing Batman the Animated Series Batwing. Huge, huge, huge vehicle next to this Batcycle. Love that we're getting Batman's Armada put together. And I almost forgot about this vehicle here. Roxy Rocket's Rocket. A little bit longer than the Batcycle, but definitely thinner. Also has light up features. Next, let's check out these Batcycles compared with several other Batman motorcycles. Then we'll check it out with some more 1/12 scale Batman vehicles. and a couple of recently released 1/12 general vehicles. So here's a couple of Batcycles. This one here is from the Batman Missions line, and this one here is from the Justice League line. Both are from the basic $10 assortment, 6-inch basic figures. These vehicles work pretty nice for your DC Universe Classics figures, as well as Multiverse type stuff. And then here are these Batcycles next to several different Batpods from the Dark Knight trilogy. These ones are from Figure Arts, Mafex, and Mattel. Here it is next to a Marvel Legends Black Widow motorcycle. I bought this as it works perfect for the Mattel Batwoman figure. Here it is next to a 1/12 scale Mezco Judge Dredd motorcycle. I often give this to Nightwing as I think it kind of works out for him color-wise. Here it is next to a DC Collectibles DC Icons Batgirls motorcycle. This thing scales up really nicely with 6 and 7-inch figures. I do almost prefer to use it for Hunters or Spoiler, as it is purple and works good for those guys. Here it is next to a Batman motorcycle from Total Heroes or Power Attack. It's a basic 6 and 5-inch line, but it does work okay with the 6-inch figures. And then here it is next to a Brave and the Bold Batcycle with Sidecar. This one is intended for 5-inch figures. The larger part might work with the 6-inch figure, but not the Sidecar. And then here it is next to a Hot Wheels Batcycle with Sidecar. This is a 1/12 scale die-cast vehicle of sorts. Hot Wheels almost never makes 1/12 scale stuff, so it's pretty cool they made this. I did take a screwdriver and remove the Sidecar. This motorcycle here actually looks really, really nice. The wheels turn, it does rotate, fits 6 and 7-inch figures just fine. Really nice little find here. Then here it is next to Robin's Redbird from the film Batman and Robin. This was intended for 5-inch figures, but it works great for 6-inch figures as well. A great Robin or Nightwing bike. And then here it is next to an old Batcycle from the Dark Knight collection. I believe this was when Kenner took over from Toy Biz. This is for 5-inch figures, but it is fudgeable for 6-inch DC Universe Classics figures, although they're a little bit too big for it. And then here it is next to some more Batman 1/12 scale vehicles. Here it is with the Batman Missions Batmobile. This is pretty much the most recently released Batmobile for a 5 and 6-inch line. Here it is next to the Super Ultra Deluxe Justice League Multiverse Radio Controlled Batmobile. This here is huge, radio controlled, has smoke, can drive on its own, has a camera so you can see what it sees. All kind of cool action features. This will accommodate pretty much any 6 and 7-inch figure with pretty much ease. Here it is next to the Multiverse Justice League Batmobile. This one here scales up pretty much the best with your DC Universe Classics figures. This one here has the most spacious cockpit, can fit any 6 and 7-inch figures you have pretty much with complete ease. And then here it is next to a couple of 6-inch scale Batmobiles from the basic line from Batman vs Superman and Justice League. Here it is next to the Nightcrawler Vehicle from the Justice League film. This one was from the Talking Heroes line, which is also a 6-inch line and can accommodate most of your 6-inch figures. Here it is next to the Flying Fox from the Justice League film. Although this vehicle is ridiculously underscaled, it is actually part of the 6-inch basic line and can accommodate a few different 6-inch figures in the cockpit. Here it is next to the Hot Toys 6-inch scale 1/12 The Bat from The Dark Knight Rises. Absolutely huge Batman air vehicle. Here it is next to a 2-seater Batman for 6-inch figures. That was from the Mattel line Batman. That was the predecessor to DC Superheroes, which was the predecessor to DC Universe Classics, which is the predecessor to the current Multiverse, which is about to end. Here it is next to a Mattel 1966 Batmobile that accommodates the smaller scale of 6-inch figures. And then here it is next to a Batjet of sorts. This, I believe, was from the Power Attack line. You might have to bend their knees a little bit, but you can get 6-inch figures to fit in this cockpit. And then here are these Batcycles next to the recently released Joker helicopter from the Batman Missions line. This accommodates 6-inch Joker figures. Here they're next to a couple of McFarlane Toys Quad Crashers from Fortnite. I use these vehicles not only for Fortnite figures, but double up for Joker vehicles. These ones are actually for the 7-inch scale, so are a little bit larger than these Batcycles. Here it is next to a NECA San Diego Comic-Con exclusive John Connor's dirt bike from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And then here at the Batcycles next to a couple of Mattel Wrestling breakaway cars. These were recently released and work great for any 6 and 7-inch action figure line. Pretty nice for a civilian car. Well, now that I've got all the larger vehicles out of the Batcave for now, let's take a look at the Batcave with the Batcycles in it. A bunch of different 6 and 7-inch Batcaves put together to make an ultimate Batcave. Here's the entryway. We've got the Power Attack Batcave. Doorway would open up, allow a vehicle to leave. Here on the left side, we've got very, very tall Batcave playsets, both from Batman vs Superman and Justice League. Then looking inside, the Batcave from Batman the Animated Series. We've got a Movie Master exclusive, San Diego Comic-Con, I believe. There's a Doctor Who set in the background. This huge Batman Forever playset. And then we got a bunch of vehicles and armored suits. Batman's trophies and his laboratory. We've also got the Wayne Manor above it. And more of the Wayne Manor above that. And then a bunch of the older Batman cars even higher up there. As you can see, here are some of the heroes meeting up. Batman getting ready to take one of the Batcycles out. Here's another Batcycle ready to go. And then even another one ready to go down there. So I must say, overall this is a pretty nice set. And DC Collectibles has set the bar pretty high for their vehicles. The Batmobile and Batwing were absolutely amazing, so is the Batcave. This Batcycle follows suit very nicely. I love the fact that it can accommodate all the other figures I was hoping it would accommodate. The light up features are a little bit weak. As you saw earlier, the headlight really doesn't light up in front of the vehicle very well. Very, very small nitpick. This thing is great. I love how it stands up without a kickstand with complete ease, supporting heavy, top-heavy figures. If I were to rate this set, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And I'm really just rating that for the Batcycle. The Batman is nice and all, but I really don't care that much for him. It's a Batcycle that I really was after for getting this set, and it sure delivered on what I was hoping for. Like I said, 8 out of 10, pretty high rating, pretty good vehicle. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.